Well, welcome back to the Life on Cars. Hope you're all keeping well. And today we're back on the Jaguar XK. Yep, I've decided to do a little bit more preventative maintenance on the Jag, and it's time to do the upper rear wishbones. And as per usual, on cars that are getting on a bit, things have escalated slightly. So grab yourself a cup of tea. Let's find out what happened when we go to change the upper wishbones on the Jaguar XK X150 model. Let's go. Get in. Can you believe it? It's been basically 2 years to the date. It's November 2025, and in November 2023 that was when we did the rear lower wishbones on the Jaguar XK behind me. And back then those videos were quite popular. I did the wheel bearings as well on the back of the Jaguar. I mean, if you've not checked it out, we have a huge playlist on the Jaguar XK. And we have a lot of subscribers that are interested in the car. And anyway, back then, after I'd done the wishbones, the lower rear wishbones, about, I'm going to say 7 months later, a subscriber got in touch with me and said that they were selling their car and they had a few spares left over. And would I be interested in one upper wishbone, a genuine Jaguar upper rear wishbone? And at the time I said, yeah, I'll take that because I might need it in the future. And I've kept hold of it, and I was having a look around the back of the car the other day. I'm getting ready to do a bit more preventative maintenance, a few of the jobs which I'll bring to the channel, and I've decided that it's time we did those upper rear wishbones on the XK. I think they're original. You know, the car's a 2006. It's getting close to 96,000 miles an hour on the clock. And so yeah, I've got one brand new genuine Jaguar one. So I got in touch with my supplier of choice, Ashwood Jag parts, and asked them if they could send me out a upper wishbone for the other side. So we've got two, because we should always do these things in pairs. So we've got the two. But what's interesting is the one that I always go for with Ashwoods, and it was the same when I did the lower rear wishbones, are the Lemforder manufactured wishbones. And I think I mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. Lemforder are the original supplier to Jaguar for the wishbones, so they are actually Jaguar parts. But we've got an interesting opportunity here to put them side by side on the table and compare them, because they are both Jaguar parts. It's just that the Lemforder ones come in a Lemforder bag. Sorry, get my words out. And they grind off the Jaguar logos for the aftermarket. So let's just have a quick look at them first, and then we'll get on with the job. Let's go. So this is the one that my subscriber sent me when he sold his Jaguar, and I've just had it in a cupboard ever since. So let's get it out and have a look. So yeah, obviously this one is branded Jaguar here, and obviously very good quality. Again, you'll notice there's a larger bush on one side and a smaller on the other. That's because of the twisting forces under acceleration and deceleration. You need a larger bush on one side to counteract that. It's got various part numbers on it. LH62 Jaguar. It's got Jaguar numbers. It's got a Jaguar barcode on it. And on the other side is just the casting marks. So we'll just set that one to one side there. And here's my brand new lem for the left hand side, wishbone, sorry, right hand side, that's left. Come on Paul, get it together. This one's come from Ashwood's, Ashwood Jag parts. There's the number C2D49448-G. And like I say, these work out cheaper than going to Jaguar direct and buying the Jaguar ones, but it's actually a Jaguar part in the bag. Let's get it out and have a look. So here they are then, side by side, and it's fairly obvious straight away that they've come from the same manufacturer. Even the alloy looks the same colour, the same casting, and yeah, the Lemforder one, again, really good quality. Everything looks as it should, but it's quite obvious when we look at it here. So look, we've got, this is the Jaguar one, we've got LH62, and on the Lemforder one we've got RH for right hand 62, and where the Jaguar is here, on the Lemforder one you can clearly see it's being ground flat, it's being ground off, and there's some grinding here, and what they've done there is they've ground off the part number for Jaguar, because this is being sold as an aftermarket part. I just find that so interesting. And it doesn't come with the barcode either for some reason. That must be something to do with Jaguar stock control maybe, or something like that. So yeah, there you go. So I'd highly recommend the Lemforder if you've got a Jaguar XK and you're replacing wishbones front or rear. Go for Lemforders, because you won't be able to go wrong at all with the quality. Let's just turn these over and do a bit more comparison, so you can see the castings are exactly the same on both. So yeah, very interesting. The other nice thing about using Ashwoods, they always look after you, Ashwoods, because I said to them, will you send me out a couple of new nylock nuts for the front ball joint, because the Jaguar one didn't come with one, and you should, if there's any nylocks involved, you should always replace them. So yeah, we've got a couple of new nuts there for the front ball joint. So less chit chat, we'll get onto the car and start swapping these out. So here's my lovely Jaguar XK. We've got it in the garage, and she's a big old machine. Look at that, we're fairly close to the back door. And when I have the Jaguar in, I have to move this toolbox because I haven't got a lot of room there, look, to get to the door. But we're in, and it's a good job we're in, because it's howling a wind and blowing rain outside. So yeah, it's a good day to do this because it's not very nice outside. So yeah, we're up and we supported on axle stands. I've done videos on jacking up and supporting this car in the past if you're interested. Look, you can still see how clean the bottom arms on the bottom wishbones are, even though I replaced them 2 years ago. We've done a few road trips and things in the car since we did the NC500 around Scotland, and we went down to the Festival of Speed, and yeah, they're still looking pretty good. Look, those bottom arms, everything's looking pretty good. But yeah, we're working on these top arms today, and the bolts are fairly accessible. The one at the back there is a bit tricky to get to. Hopefully they'll come out, and then obviously you've got your front ball joint. But one of the things that we may need to do, Can you see Jaguar designed these with the flexi hose going through the middle of the wishbone? Which means we may need to disconnect that. And then we are into bleeding brakes and things when we put it back together. It's either that or I might try unbolting the caliper from the pad carrier. I wonder if it would go through the wishbone. I don't know, but we'll get the bolts out of the wishbone first and see where we go from there. I'm also going to take the opportunity, when the wishbone's off, I've noticed I can see, I did wax oil all the subframe on this, but just looking in there, the top of the subframe could do with a little bit more of a scrape and some more wax oil, and I think when the wishbone's out of the way that will be easier to do. So yeah, we'll do that when the wishbone is out. Let's crack on. So I did soak these with they're 18mm head, by the way. I did soak these with WD last night, and it looks like soaking them with WD-40 has helped, because the first one has come straight out. Oh, they're in good condition, aren't they? There's one out. One down, two to go. So the back one is a little bit more awkward to get to. You can see I've got a socket and ratchet on the front, and I've been able to go in with a ring key behind the back of the strut, and then on the back of the nut there you can see the spanner, and hopefully we can loosen that one out. Yeah, it's a bit awkward, that one, but looks like we've got the tools on. Let's see if it'll come out. Yep, it's loosened off. It's coming out. That's good. Looks like we've got it, guys. Yep. Is it going to come past the anti-roll bar? Yes. There we are. I'm amazed really how good condition these bolts are in. Normally when you're doing suspension arms, they let's see if we can fish the nut out. They are incredibly corroded. There's the nut. So right, that's both rear bolts out. So we need to release this now. The other thing I've noticed is we've got the ABS wire here on a clip, so I'm going to take that off now. So yeah, let's work on this ball joint. Now I have had the ball joint nuts off before when I did the wheel bearings a couple of years ago on the back. They have a tendency to spin these when you're trying to take the nut off, but luckily Jaguar have engineered this with a little 8mm fitting on the end there. On the end of the ball joint there's basically an 8mm set of flats that you can put a spanner on, so you can carefully hold that still while you work this nut off. But when I did the wheel bearings, one of these was quite tight and I'd forward and backwards, and eventually we got it off. So if yours is tight, plenty of duck oil, WD-40, work it forward and backwards. Eventually you should get to a point where you can get it off. So I'm hoping mine should come off fairly easily, because I've had them off before. So let's find out. To make life easier, to get to the sorry, I've just removed that spring off the caliper, because I'm actually going to just swing this caliper out of the way, because to get the spanner into that ball joint, the handbrake mechanism and everything on the back of the caliper is a little bit in the way. So yeah, you can just see the nut there, look, on above the drive shaft. It's just not very easy to get a spanner in there with the caliper in place. So I'm just going to take these caliper bolts out and swing the caliper back out the way. Yeah, these back caliper bolts, they're just on little 7mm Allen head sliders. There's one. To be honest with you, it's a good idea to remove these anyway once a year, and as part of the service, and clean the brakes up, because it's a good preventative maintenance job. Right, let's swing this caliper off out the way now. If you watch my friend over on the YouTube channel Wheels of Interest, he has recently replaced his rear brakes on his Jaguar XK, so you might want to give that a watch if you're interested in doing the brakes. So yeah, that's going to give me a bit more room now, you see, to get in to remove that ball joint. There's a fair bit of wear on these rear brakes, you know. Might be time for a new set. Yep, that's worked. I've been able to get in and get the nut off this ball joint. It's nearly off, just a second. There we are. Right. So now the wishbone is basically off. Except for the fact that the hose for the brake, the flexible hose, is routed through the middle. So let's see if we can swing the caliper up through the middle. If not, we will have to remove the brake pipe from the caliper, which isn't the end of the world. It just means we need to bleed the brake. Well, I've had a close look for you, and unfortunately, even with the caliper disconnected, there's no way you can wangle it through the middle of the wishbone. So we don't want to put too much strain on the flexi pipe, so we're going to disconnect it from the caliper. So we'll get that disconnected off. We better have a little bit of a catch tray, because we're going to get some fluid come out here. But yeah, we do need to disconnect the flexi hose to get the wishbone out. So let's go. So I've just used a wire brush on that just to make sure we can get onto the bolt okay. It all looks in pretty good condition, so all we'll need to do when we refit this is we will have to replace the copper washers which are on both sides of the union, because you always put new ones on. It looks like it is a 14mm, so we'll get that taken off, and then we should be able to get the arm off. I've got a little drip tray ready to catch any brake fluid that comes out. There's a few drips coming out. So I'm just going to bring the flexible hose up through there like that, and then we should be able to bring the arm out. There we are. What I'm going to do now is, because I'm not going straight back in with the arm and straight back on with the pipe, because if you remember I said I wanted to clean the top of the subframe up a little bit, so I'm just going to pop a disposable glove over this pipe union and tie strap it on just to stop it. It's not dripping much, to be honest, but just to stop it from leaking while I'm working in the area, dropping brake fluid. And yeah, we'll get the subframe cleaned up and we'll get the new one in. There we are, that's tie strapped with the glove over it. So I can get on now and have a bit of a scrape around and clean up and get prepped for the new one. It was definitely ready, guys. Look, the that bush has started to split. You can see that on the big bush, and yeah, same on the other side. It's starting to separate. So yeah, it's done a good service, that, hasn't it? 2006. I've just had a little scrape around the top of this subframe. You can see there where I've revealed a little bit of surface corrosion. So I'm going to lash some wax oil on there, and then we'll get the new arm in. Right, there we are. We've got all that top bit wax oil that we couldn't get to before, so I'm going to put the new arm in now. Reverse of the procedure that we've just done, so we need to feed it in round past the flexi hose. Just making sure that cable is on the right side as well. It goes to the ABS sensor. Just getting it in past the spring. There we are. Right. Somewhere close there. There we are. We're just in loosely at the moment, so I'm going to feed the new bolts in. You can see there the hose going down the middle and the other cable coming around the top. So yeah, we just get the bolts into place now. I think I mentioned this before, but what you want to be doing is you want to be tightening those two back bolts with the arm in the neutral position, not down. It wants to be up like that. Otherwise, because if you tighten it in the down position, when you tighten them and then you put the weight back on the suspension, it'll twist these bushes. So yeah, we need to tighten it up with the arm in the upright position like that. So we'll get that done now. So yeah, now I've tightened those up, you can see that see how that's like flexing on the bush. So yeah, it's important to tighten them up in the kind of neutral position. Then when we put the ball joint back down, obviously it'll be stressed, but then when the weight comes back on the car, the arm will settle correctly. Top tip. Well, there we are, we're in. So both bolts tightened up at the back, and we've got the ball joint tightened back in. So yeah, they're not too bad to do. I mean, the bolts came out fairly easily. Obviously we have had to interfere with the brake line, so we will need to reinstate the brakes, and I'm going to cover off that on another episode, because I've decided that I'm going to overhaul the brakes on the back of this car. So yeah, I'll cover that off in the next episode. And the reason I've decided to overhaul the brakes, I'll just show you what I found. So yeah, this is the rear caliper that I've removed, and unfortunately the rubber on the piston has perished and it started to crack, and you can see there that it's been going for a while, and the piston started to get a bit of corrosion in there where water's been getting in. So these calipers, I'll be honest with you, they're not worth rebuilding, because you can get all of these calipers fairly cheaply from Ashwood Jags. They do a new caliper kit, which basically is a remanufactured caliper, and so I think that's what I'm going to go for. But there's no point in trying to repair or rebuild these calipers because of the cost. If they were, you know, £300-400 each, then yes, you might consider trying to rebuild them, but there's no point, because like I say, they're not too bad to buy. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace the rear caliper, and if I'm replacing the rear caliper, well, we might as well have some new discs and pads as well. Why not? You know how much I love this car, so I've never spent any money on brakes on this car since I've owned it. I've never changed any discs, I've never changed any brake pads. and I can see the rear pads are probably 50-60% worn anyway. So, and what with the discovery on the caliper, then yeah, I'm just going to replace them. So that'll be for another episode. So we'll reinstate the brakes on another episode. But yeah, that's the top wishbone done on the left-hand side. So here we are around the offside. We've got the other wishbone in place. This is the length order one on the offside. The only difference with this side, if we are being completely accurate, is there is the level sensor, this fella, which clips on to the wishbone up here. So I'll clip that back on now. I'll just show you that. It's just basically got like a spring clip that latches this level sensor. It's a little bit fragile, so you've got to be careful with the rod and the ball joints when you're releasing this. So I'll get that clipped back on and then I'll show you where that is. So there we are. So we've got this clip just on the back of the wishbone there, which connects that rod for the level sensor on the back suspension. So yeah, that's gone back on okay. Happy days. New wishbones all gone in. All the subframe is been re-wax oiled on the offside. So yeah, I've got all the brakes stripped off, and I am going to go ahead and order some new brakes from Ashwood. So yeah, on this side the boot has gone hard, and it's actually come away from the end of the caliper, and as you can see there, we've got corrosion creeping in on the piston. And again, that's no good, because if we were leaving these on, we would have had to have tried to wind this piston back in. So then we're dealing with all this corrosion here on the piston, and we could end up with a sticking piston. We don't want that. So yeah, 2 new calipers, I think, from Ashwood's, and we'll be able to get the job sorted properly. This is the offside wishbone that we've just taken off, and the bushes are quite perished, as you can see, and the inner bush, the smaller bush, sorry, as you can see there, has started to disintegrate as well. So yeah, I'm glad I am doing these, because they're not brilliant, and they were definitely ready. So yeah, there you go, how to fit upper wishbones on a Jaguar XK, XKR, X150 model. And tune in next time and we will finish the brake job off, and then we'll be happy. Fantastic. I've just got the email through from Ashwood's, and I've ordered the 2 new rear calipers and discs and pads for the Jaguar. So tune in next time and we'll finish the job off, and we'll do a full rebuild on the back brakes. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I was just going to crack on and do those wishbones and put it all back together, but just goes to show, doesn't it? I mean, the calipers are 20-year-old, so yeah, you know, they're due replacement. But listen, I hope you enjoyed the episode all about those suspension wishbones. And if you did, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And if you enjoy the stuff on the Jag, don't forget to check out the playlist, because we have a lot of videos on the Jaguar XK going right back from when I first bought the car. So yeah, check that out if that's interesting. And don't forget to check out the playlist for the Rolls-Royce as well. That's another really popular playlist on Life on Cars. So tune in next time. We'll get the back brakes done and built up on the Jag, and then there'll be plenty more projects coming on Life on Cars after that. So stay safe, drive carefully, look after each other, and I'll see you soon with the next installment on Life on Cars. Bye now. Bye bye.